Welcome to the Rusty Nugget Holding Company's display at the Antique Gas and Steam Engine Museum June 2015 show. We're going to do a quick walkthrough of our display prior to us having things fired up and running for the day. First up, we've got our mid to late 1920s Fairbanks Morse Model Z 6 horsepower, which will be followed by our 1926 Whitty Model B. This engine has a PR magneto, which is a little different. Most engines of this size, this era, were equipped with Wyco EKs, which were a little less complex. Following that, we have a circa 1915 Jumbo built by Nelson Brothers. This engine does not have the original ignition or the original carburation system, but it runs well on the buzz coil and homemade PVC carburetor that it is equipped with. And behind that is probably late 1940s, maybe very early 1950s Fairbanks Morse ZC 7.8 horsepower engine. Not too versed on these. This particular engine does run well. Following that is our 1914 Sears Economy, built by Hercules. This is an early engine. It is equipped with an igniter only in place of the Webster igniter combo, which would be on the engines built in the following year or two. It's fairly rare, pretty low serial number too. Following that is what we're guessing is a 1910, maybe as late as 1913 Ottawa 5 horsepower engine. Like a number of our engines, this one does not have the original ignition system, nor the original carburation system. It had been replaced at some point years ago with a buzz coil battery setup, and does run quite well on it. Next to it is a little later version of the same engine. Really the only factory difference between these two engines is going to be the addition of a speed control on the governor to better regulate the engine speed. Other than that, they're essentially identical. And then next to that is a little Ottawa farm engine, Model TA, horse and a half, kind of small as flywheel engines go. Like most Ottawas, it is throttle governed, and it was apparently never designed for log saw work, as evidenced by the twin flywheels in the back pulley. Following that engine is our Hercules Model E. This is a good representation of what the majority of the Hercules engine production looked like. Most of the Hercules engines built were Model E's, and most of the Model E's were horse and a half engines. This one too runs quite well. Behind that is our Hercules Model F, built for Jaeger. You can't really see it from this side, but it does have the later Webster magneto on it, which was very short-lived, as it was introduced right before Wyco came out with the EK, and Hercules wasted no time upgrading to the EK. Following that is Stover CT1. This is Sears' offering after they severed their partnership with Hercules. This is built in 1937. It is probably one of the last Stovers built. Stover didn't last much longer. The demand for farm engines wasn't as great as it was previously. Outdated technology by 1937. Following that is a 1924 Fairbanks Morse Model Z horse and a half. We do have the correct magneto for it, but this is one of those projects we just haven't gotten to yet. Behind it is a 1914 Hercules Model D engine. As Hercules engines go, this one's kind of obscure. Not a whole lot of these made. They've had a 6-month production run. Behind that is a 1925 McCormick Deering Model M horse and a half. This is probably the most built of any of the engines that we have in our display. International Harvester built a big pile of these things. They were very successful and very long-lived. And in front of it is probably 1930s Novo Model SU. It's a roller series engine. It does not have the correct carburetor on it, but it doesn't seem to mind. It does run very, very well, and is quite well built and light for its size and its era. Next to it is our Fairbanks Morse Model N 3 horsepower hit and miss engine. It does run quite well, although it took us quite a while to get this particular one dialed in. In the back is a Delaval pumping engine built by Lawson. This is Lawson's kind of first venture into the high-speed engines. Within a few years after building this, Lawson became a major player in the small air-cooled market, and through World War II and after World War II became a very successful builder of small engines, building most of the engines for Sears' offerings for about 30 years. Next we have our Wonder engine, built by Waterloo. This engine was converted to hit and miss by its previous owner. It is not equipped with the original ignition system nor the original carburation system, but it runs very, very well as it sits right now. Next to it is a pair of Fairbanks Morse model engines. Again, this was a pretty widely used engine, pretty advanced for its time, although quickly outdated, eclipsed by the more modern air-cooled engines. And next to that is our Leroy Model VP7 power unit. Not really sure what this came out of. We're guessing that it's from the 1940s. We're guessing that it's approximately 7 horsepower given the model number. White Motor Company bought Leroy in the 1950s, and much of the documentation was lost, so finding manufacturing information on this is particularly hard. Following that is our 1935 model LA International Harvester. This series was introduced after the end of production of the Model M, and again it was very successful, and International Harvester built a lot of them. Following that is our, we're guessing is late teens, early 20s Bulldog. This is a 3 horsepower engine. Bulldog was noted for building very, very heavy products. This engine does not have the original ignition or carburation system, but it runs as well as any hit and miss engine that you'll see. Following that is our 4 horsepower Associated. It's an Iowa oversized series engine with the right angle drive that Associated was probably the only manufacturer to use. I guess United might have used a few of them too, but that's for all intents and purposes the same company. Behind that is the our mid 1920s Jaeger 2 horsepower engine. I'm sorry, I don't remember the year off the top of my head here. It came off of a concrete mixer. It is showing its original working clothes. This is how it came out of the mixer. It's been out of the mixer now for approximately 6 months now. Behind that is a 1926 Hercules Model S. Essentially the same engine as the Jaeger that preceded it, except this is a little older version with the spoked flywheels. Next to it is a 1919 Hercules Model E that has been converted to Wyco EK at some point earlier in its life. Following that is a 1920 Fairbanks Morse Model Z 3 horsepower. This engine is running on a battery buzz coil. We haven't run it this particular show, but it does run well. Behind it is our Ørsted. We're guessing that's late 1920s, could be a little bit later because Ford built Model T engines after the end of the Model T production for this kind of use and for replacement in Model Ts. This engine is as it was found, with the exception of the ignition system, the wires for the ignition system. Next to it is a 1916 Fairbanks Morse 3 horsepower Model Z. This is a donor engine. Next to it is what we're guessing is a late 1930s Ottawa Model TE. Again, Ottawa information is kind of hard to come by. This engine has a very late serial number. Following that is a Stewart Little Wonder. We're speculating this was a cream separator engine. It was manufactured by the Chicago Flexible Shaft Company. Guessing mid-teens to 1920s on this vintage. It does have a very early rotary magneto on the back side that you can't see. Next to it is a 1924 Wonder engine built by Associated. It was a concrete mixer engine, and this is one of the first engines reintroduced by Associated as part of their Iowa oversize line. The little one next to it on the ground is a Johnson Utilimotor. Kind of looks like a Maytag, but there's a fair number of noticeable differences in the Kickstarter carburation, all across the board there. Next to it is a 1923 Stover Model K, horse and a half hitting this engine. Assuming it's horse and a half. Might have misspoke. And next to that is our Arco. It is 1923, and we've used that for probably the last 25 years to run this particular display with the Judd washing machine. This is one of our hallmarks, the combination that we don't break up, although the Arco did get a new paint job this last year. And attached to the Arco, or belted to the Arco, is our 1915 Judd laundry machine, washing machine. The tub rocks back and forth on this particular unit and provides our gentle cycle for clothes washing. Next to it is a manually powered Big 3 washing machine. It's got a gearbox on the top of the lid that provides the directional change to operate the agitator, and pulling the handle back and forth generated the force to change to rotate the agitator. It is not a non-labor intensive machine. A great deal of energy was required to use any of the hand washing machines, although it was a great step up from a washboard. Following that's a 1930 Maytag gas-powered washing machine. This was one of our first restorations and has been in our display probably for 25 years. Following that is a Wonder, another hand washing machine, built in 1907. And following that is a Mystery washer, again, another hand operated washing machine. I'm guessing this one here is about 1930. Next up is our Easy. This has 3 suction cups. It's a little less delicate than the rocking tubs, but certainly better than having an agitator beating the clothes all day. Following that is our wood tub Voss. Not sure of the year on this particular model, not a whole lot of information on these. Next to it is our museum-owned 1900 model washing machine. It is electric. It is wood tubs, probably from the mid-teens, although that's, again, just a guess. There's not a whole lot of information on those. Next to it is the Laundryette, circa 1920s, probably. And this is an early version of a spin dry or spin rinse washing machine. Later washing machines would incorporate that same feature, but in a much different design. And next to that is our 1933 Maytag washing machine that we display the meat grinder on. This particular unit came from the U.S. Navy. It was on the Cedar Creek, which was decommissioned in San Diego in 1957. Next to that is our Maytag washing machine that we use to run the butter churn, and this is kind of a signature of our display as we churn butter daily on this and offer that as samples. Behind it is our father who passed earlier this year. That's our memorial to him. I miss you, Dad. Next to that is my brother's early 30s Austin. Kind of looks like a clown car at this particular point. It does run and drive well. It will be one of our future projects. And following that is our Blossom throttle governed engine, which is a new acquisition for the show. Still lots of work to do on that one. And behind that is the museum Jaeger mixer, powered by a 5 horsepower economy, and was used to build part of the